Hello, everybody. Today we have Suresh Bhai. He's talk about the asset planning. Thank you, Suresh Bhai. We can start.
Thank you, Jen Center, for inviting me. Gujarati, Hindi, English, and
English.
English, English. Okay. So, I just wanted to clarify. I just wanted to clarify that I'm not an accountant, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an estate plan professional, I'm not even a financial planner. I'm none of those person here. What I've done is I've done research on my own, and I moved from Ohio to Florida. And when I moved, I had paid $1,500 in Ohio to do my estate plan. When I came here, the lawyer said I want another 1,500. So I said, that's not what I want to do. And so I went to Barnes Noble and library, but like 30, 40 books, read it, spent my own, went to the lawyer. The lawyer said, I'll charge you $500. I said, fine, here it is. And this is a Jewish lawyer. And after reading that 1 week, he gave me my $500 back. He said, I think I learned something from this. So then we had done estate planning here in Temple a few years ago, and I did it in Chicago and I did it in a few other places. So I'm glad I'm here, and thank you, Jim. So that's what this is. Again, this is not a legal advice. I'm asked to do this. It's an informational and educational purpose only. I will make it interactive, so if you have any questions, you can stop me. If the answer is lengthy, then what I'll do is I'll tell you that we discuss after the hour.
Because I mentioned you may have to contact accountant or lawyer.
Oh, yes.
So that one basically it's accountant is for your financial status.
Correct.
Or for the documents.
Documents. Now, I have we did documents here before. We can redo it if we have to, but legally I don't want to be responsible for anything that I'm going to give you an accurate advice, but I'm not going to, if I don't know, I'll say I don't know. So it's not going to be that I'm going to just give you something out of there. And that's what I want. But I think if you have a large estate, it's good to have all these people involved into it. Good catch. So at the end of the talk, you should be able to familiar at least with the terminology, and then you should be able to ask good questions to your accountant or to customize your situation. And spouse will know more about you. So I have a question for the spouses. How many of the spouses, you raise your hand, can tell me that you know where all the accounts are, where all the brokerage accounts are, which account, how much money is, where are the insurance paper, what are the bills you are not paying? How many ladies can tell me that they can take care of the whole house?
We can take care.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all of you ladies know where you don't take it. And so my suggestion is don't cook until your spouse makes you understand where everything is. Because I have.
Very important, they all should know fast.
Yes, I'm coming.
How to money.
I'm coming to that. Yeah, but very good point. Because what happens right now, I did go through one example where a person passed away and didn't leave any notes where the will is, where the accounts are, who should be contacted. And it's a nightmare. So especially when you have stayed with your spouse for so many years and you have worked with your spouse has really taken care of you for husbands. At least you owe to let your spouse know where everything is. Otherwise, life has no purpose. You really, I cannot emphasize everything you should be able to do. That whether your husband is there or not. The husbands will do it. Husbands won't be able to cook, but that's okay. They can manage it. But this is very important. So I emphasize to everybody to take care of that. Okay. So yes. Yeah, he's recording. You want to listen your husband to listen to this?
Yeah.
Okay, good. It's okay. So it's important. Now, normally when we say estate planning documents, we only think about will and trust. But in reality, it becomes the whole package that you have to have. And what does the package include? It includes the will. Now, it does not necessarily have to include trust. Not everybody needs the trust, but everybody must have a will. If you don't have a will, then there are things that can happen, and you may have to go to probate. And the people that you want them to take your estate will get it eventually, but there will be so much delay in it. And you may lose the market value, you may lose the house value, or you may something could go wrong. So it's very important to at least have a will. The third is living will. So it's also important that you put it in writing that if you are incapacitated and you want to have a life support, do you want to extend your life or not? Not necessarily everybody wants to sleep in the bed and look at the ceiling and breathe in the breathing machine. So at some point, you can decide, this is what I'm going to do. I don't want breathing machines, I don't want anything, just take it out and I'm peacefully ready to go. So that's very important. Durable? Yes, sir.
Are these documents state level or?
They are everywhere. State level. There are some no. This should be made in such a way that if you are not in Florida, but if let's say I'm with my daughter, they are good. So we make it good for everywhere. So that's important for you.
Yeah, mind બરાબર નથી. અવાજ સંભળાતો નથી.
I mic barabar.
Okay.
This is better.
જરાક પાછળ
Yeah.
રાખો છો કદાચ.
નહીં. અવાજ આ બરાબર.
Hello.
એવું કરું છે.
Hello.
સુરેશભાઈ લાસ્ટ will and testimony હોય તો પછી ટ્રસ્ટમાં જવાની જરૂર પડી I mean small amount of it, but they might be generous.
Next by percentage for Francisco.
$5 million small amount. એમના માટે.
Now, trust માં જવાની જરૂર નથી. You don't have your trust. પણ ખાલી bill હોય અને તમે probate માટે તૈયારી ન કરી હોય તો will has to go to probate. Then you can't avoid it. So there are probate avoidance schemes which I'll go through it. So will કરો ખાલી but get trust હોય ને it doesn't need probate. Trust does not need probate. So trust no ફાયદો એ ખરો. I'm sorry. The benefit of trust is that you don't have to go to probate. But if you have taken care of all the things that you own in a probate way, probate avoidance scheme, then you can.
સુરેશભાઈ just probate the general
I'm coming.
explanation.
Yes, I'm coming to that slide. Yeah.
Let's go to the sub slide
Right.
and then ask the question because it's not covering.
I have, yes. So then you have your, I'm going to go through this rapidly. Durable power of attorney for dog. What does durable means? That means when you are disabled, then you have to give power of attorney to somebody. Now, most of us are enjoying to give power of attorney to our kids. And I would really strongly suggest everyone to think about it. Because our kids are away from here. they're not here. And of course, once you make a phone call, they will take a next flight and they'll come to see you. But there may be time when you need the decision kind of right away. There may be. So my suggestion is you can put your kid, but at least put some good friend who is around you most of the time, and he knows exactly what you want, and he can carry out your wishes. So power of doubt is very important. Last minute, we don't know what happens. Durable power of attorney for finance. We don't know when, what's going to happen to us, and we could be in a car accident. We could be someplace that right thing did not happen to us, wrong time, the wrong place. In that case, whatever finance that you haven't taken care of in your will or trust or something, at least you do that. But make sure that when you're incapacitated, somebody makes the decision for you. Now here you can have your kids, brother, sister, family, somebody you trust. Again, make sure the person that you give the power of attorney is younger than you, at least 10 years younger, is not older than you, because 10 years younger, you never know it is there. Then, general power of attorney for everything. You have to give, in case you give power of attorney for your housing, for your brokerage, for your anything that you own, valuable things you own, apartments, real estate, you have to have a general power of attorney on file all the time. Don't delay that. Then this is also very important. Instructions for surviving spouse. I have written 2 pages of bullet items that something had to happen to me, then I would like to make sure that these are the things that you do it. Because it's not that they don't want to do it, but it's a timely manner that you want to get it done. Otherwise, what happens is they will say, oh, I have to do this. So like I get a pension plan, right, from AT&T. So those are some of the things as a reminder. I'm not saying that you want to do is, now I have a question for men. How many of you name of the bank, the other column is the email address of the 2, 3, 4. I still see not many hands raised. Where every first of the month, I have made a habit of and I have given my passwords to this, to my daughters and my son-in-laws. So they know exactly what is where. Now, somebody worries about cloud getting identification theft or something, but what happens is my daughter or son-in-law logs into my cloud account. I get a message on my phone asking for the code to enter. So they don't know the code, they can't do anything. And so it's very important again to emphasize all of you, put your documents in the cloud and tell your kids where it is. As a matter of fact, you have to have a drill with your children to go through like exactly what you do in a daily routine. You pay this bill, you pay that bill, you receive this money, you receive that money. This is how it works. This is the And I do that kind of exercise with my children, maybe once every 3 months, 4 months, so they just get used to it for me being not around. I want them also to get used to without me being around. How long am I going to be around? So it's very important to have that kind of drill with whoever you trust. If you don't trust your kids, that's fine. If you trust your kids, that's fine. Then instructions for trustees. You have to have a separate one-page bullet item list of whoever is the trustee of your will or of your trust document. You have that you cannot put everything in the trust document. There are a few things that you will change. So you want to update that list for instruction of trustees that like that do this. I would like to make a charity of this much amount to this. So make sure that my kids, you can put it in the trust, but you can also put instruction in the trust. You can tell trustees that execute it this way or execute it that way. Okay. How many of you have, ladies especially, all your jewelries listed with a picture on something? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Good. I'm really happy to see this. But those of the ladies who do not have that, I highly recommend get all your jewelries, take one picture at a time, and then in the picture underneath it, write daughter number 1, daughter-in-law, done, whatever you really want to get, just put the name. You know why? Because I know our kids are self-sufficient, I know kids don't care, but you don't want them to be a little bit upset. Okay, my mom did this for this girl better than this, secret evidence. So I have even actually opened up the list and I say, what do you want? You pick. I'll put the name. But I don't want any issues. This is all peace of mind for us. And this is for you. But anyway, so I highly recommend ladies to take a pictures of everything you have and put the names. If you don't put the names, it's no good.
Also for all the hard assets like a house, any other property, you give it to your children, but clarify who is going to take care of the selling of these assets. So then
Yeah.
there will be a conflict,
Yes,
you do
yes.
it, you do it.
Yes.
So you sell it, you get extra 10% or that's one clarification.
I'm assuming that'll be part of the trust or the will that we made, and I'm coming to that slide pretty soon.
Suresh bhai,
Yes, sir.
are there standard forms for power of attorney or you just write up and
There is nothing standard. If any lawyer tells you everything is standard, it's wrong. It has to be customized.
No, but are there any ready available forms or we have to create one?
I would suggest make your own.
And just get notarized? Is that what it is?
Yes, yes. Because unlike instructions, you don't even have to notarize. Instruction, you keep it in the folder that you have. Instruction, but the wills and the trust, all of that has to be notarized. But instructions only you know, right? Nobody else. But make sure you write these instructions on a piece of paper that whoever is going to be executor of the trust finds it. It's right there. And it should be right on the table so they can go and say, okay, my dad wanted me to do this, or my mom wanted me to do this, but mom the dad probably knows all the things what mom wanted, and hopefully he takes care of it. But if dad goes first, that's when the issue starts. So very important, make pictures and keep it. And then charity instructions. If you truly want, I again highly recommend that clear instructions, write it down that I want so many percentage or so many dollars to go to this charity, no matter what. Mark it down, up, nothing matters. This is what I want to do. So those are the things that you must do. Okay, what are the documents needed when somebody passes on? This is the list of the documents that you must have. And I know the persons, I've seen the persons who have not kept the original documents. And they really go through the hard time. Banks give the hard time, the court gives the hard time. Not that it can't be resolved, but you need to do it resolved.
Give the example what we talked anonymously.
Okay. Just recently, last week only, Nan by called me and said there is one lady who passed away in India. And she has a will, but nobody knows where the will is. And they nobody had a house key either. Her house key go get it. So finally I said, call the police so that her sisters that they are the next to kin, at least let them in. So they went in and they couldn't find, but they found some document which is really not a will because it's not even notarized, it's not even witnessed. Will has to be notarized and witnessed, by the way. If you don't do that, that's no good. So, but they still had something in writing. But whatever that writing was nothing original. So that will not hold in the court. And the lady who wrote passed away, the instructions she had given was to give away everything she owned to charity. But the people who are next to kin, they did not want to do that. They wanted it for themselves. So you see what happens? If you don't leave the clear instructions, and if you don't make the right paper, I'm not saying go spend money with the lawyers or go spend money with this, that, but at least have it clear. If anybody wants me to just look at it and tell you if it's good or not, I'll be happy to do that. And again, I don't charge for anything. I just love doing this, and I'll be happy to help out in any way I can. But anyway, what are the documents you need? You need 2 copies of death certificate. One is not good, because I remember I took one person, when that person passed away, to crematory, and they gave one document. And we went with one document. That one document was taken away by the place we used to cremate. And then there was no document left. And we had to run for 1 week to get another copy of the document. So make sure, I would get at least 5 copies, what does it matter? Just get at least 2 copies of the document which has the time, date, cause of the death, and signed by the hospital or signed by the physician. If you don't have it, it's no good. The descendant's original will and a copy. It has to be original, signed, witnessed, okay, dated. Perfect. That's the. But that every bank statement, stocks, bonds, IRA, real estate, NEST, I told you that list you have to make. With phone numbers, broker's name, email address, everything. Any kind of debts you have, life insurance policies, last 3 years of tax returns. If you have any pending lawsuits, if you have a small business and if you have any pending lawsuits, then have that. The last one I want to emphasize in the safe deposit box. How many of you have put your children's name on the safe deposit box? Good, good. You guys are good. Okay. If you have not, go tomorrow and get your children's name on the safe deposit box. Reason? They will be able to get it. Produce death certificate, produce their marriage certificate. It's going to take a month before they can access the safe deposit box. See, these are all the techniques that you must do to avoid time. And the problem is our kids don't have time. I don't even know whether they, I imagine that when I pass away, they'll just put everything in bag and call the chair, some kind of donation truck and say, take it. That's, so they don't have time. You want to minimize that time, honestly. And that's what every one of our thinking should be. How do I minimize our kids' time? And especially if they are away from here, how many times are they going to fly? They're going to fly. They just want to come here when you pass away, spend 2 days, 3 days, a week at the most, and go do their own things. They have their own things to do. So please, if you don't have your children or whoever you want to trust to go to safe deposit box, do it tomorrow. Okay, now, these are too many things that they call sunset rules, they are changing things. I don't know how many of this is for, some of this is very good for high assets people who have few millions of dollars, and how do you achieve that? So I won't go into details, but the idea is people right now, I'll give you very short, but if you have more questions, I'll answer that later. So idea is today, if you have individualized 2023, $12.4 million per person, you can take it exempt out of taxes, estate taxes. So if you have two people, it's 12.4 times 2, whatever, 25, 24.8. 2024, this is all inflation indexed. 2024, that goes to 12.4, goes to 13.6 and 13.7. So it becomes 27 or so. But what happens in 2025, January 1st, 2026, they will go back to the 2017 level. Unless Congress changes something. The 2017 level was something like 5.4 or 5.6 million. So if you have asset worth more, let's say 5.6, and 5.6 is inflation index, so maybe it becomes 7. So if you have 7 times to $14 million or close to 14, don't think over 14. Even if you have between 10 and 14, then the time is now to think about how you're going to protect that. So because what will happen, suppose you have $11, $12 million today, and you have another 10 years of life expectancy. 11, 12, at minimum rate of growth of 5%, at 10 years, it'll give you another 50, 60%. So 11 million times 60% is 17, 18 million dollars. All of a sudden, you are going to be taxed. Your estate is going to get taxed over and above whatever the level is. So I have one slide. I don't want to go through that slide. There are ways to prevent that so that you don't give the tax to the government, but start thinking. See, this is not, it's all not hard work, but it does take time. It does take thinking about what you really want to achieve, and you don't want to keep doing it again and again and again. So every time somebody comes to me, based on that person's situation, I give them 15 questions. Go answer me these questions, and then I'll say what to do. And many times they don't even come back because it's not they don't want to come back, but they don't come back because they can't find answers to those questions. But if you cannot find answers to those questions today, how do you think your kids are going to find those answers? They don't even care for the answers. So all that hard work you did for 40, 50, 60 years just disappears in a fraction of a second. So don't do that. Do what is necessary. Absolutely necessary. So protect. So some of the changes that, and if you are contributing in 401k and IRA, there are no changes but indexed with inflation. If you have your own company or you are working for some company, then now company has to give you auto enrollment. Previously they were asking you, okay, do you want to enroll in 401k? No more. Company must give you that option to auto enrollment, and you can go and say, I don't want to get involved in enrollment. Companies are allowed, whatever, sometimes when I was in AT&T, I was contributing 6% and company was contributing 6%. Now companies are allowed to give you that 6% for a student loan. So if you have a student loan, then they can, that 6% you can take company's contribution and give it to the student loan. Those of us who are taking RMD, the law has changed. So starting when 2023, they made it R&D required at 73, age of 73. So if you were 73 this year, kind of out of luck. But if you are 72 this year, then you don't need to take R&D next year. Previously, you would have had to, but now you don't. And then 2024, you can wait to take your R&D until 1st April 2025. So that's the change if you're not 73 as of today. If you are becoming 73 later, then you will find yourself that you don't. And saving R&D is good, okay? Those of you who are not paying R&D, you pay tax. And what happens? Your tax bracket goes up. So let's say if you're making $100,000 and if you take 20,000 R&D, all of a sudden you're 120,000. Then your tax bracket could go from 20% to 52%, 25%. Now you are paying 5% more. And not only that, but the amount that take care of your member for Medicare, that goes up too.
Sure.
With that income.
It charges you the penalty.
It charges you. So make sure the R&D is important and you want to do that. Okay, then there is catch-up contribution for 401k. I won't go into detail that. This another thing is, and there is a government has given the savers credit. So if you are lower income group making less than 71k, then federal government will give you up to $1,000 as a gift or whatever, the giveaway, so that you can put it in your 401k or IRA. So if you are less than 71k, again, that's in index inflation. 2024 it may be different, but this is what it is now. And then the other change this law has made is starting 2025, if you're a part-time worker and you have worked for 2 years, 500 hours every year, then you will get the benefit of enrolling in the 401k. Okay, sunset law, I explained to you little briefly. I'm not going to go into details. And those of us who has more than $14 million, they probably don't even need me. So okay. But this is important to keep in mind, seriously. What can you do if you do have, this is very important for a lot of people. Okay, this slide is important. What can you do? Suppose if the government allows you to give $17,000 per year per person as a gift, so that will not count towards your estate. So if I have 2 daughters, let's say, so if I can give $17,000 and my wife can give $17,000, so 34,000 times 2, that's 68,000. But now, if I multiply that with 4 grandkids, so now 17,000 times 6 plus 17,000 times 6. So if you have quite a bit of assets, it's a good thing to start transferring this money to your children. But not only that, I always tell people that give away your money while you are alive. You want to see the smile on your children's faces. You want to see if you give charity. You want to see what your charity has brought to the fulfillment of your desires. So nothing like what happens here after you go, who cares whether this money went here or there, but while you are alive, it's good to keep as much as you need. I'm saying keep more than what you need. But at this age, everyone knows how much do I need per year. Come on. After living for so many years, if you had your travel, you had your bills, you had your desires to do anything you want to do, movies, this and that, you can figure it out. My lifestyle requires so much money. Most of us have their houses paid, cars paid, everything paid. So if you can take a number and say, now I have so much money that I have to dispose. I mean, you have to dispose, right? When you go, you have to dispose. Nobody's taking with them. Nobody, so far. So think about giving it away and get the smiles of people. Do a good thing in charity while you're alive. That's my tidbit. Okay, good charity. Okay. Gifts are meant to that 17,000, 18,000. And one more last point is important. That cash and little appreciated values are better to give away for that $17,000 gift expense. Or, but if you have a big brokerage account or big real estate, then give that away as part of the transfer of assets. Why? Because let's say your brokerage account today is $100,000. 10 years later, it will be $150,000. But if you give away $100,000, then step up. That's not taxed. So now all of a sudden, your children will not have to pay tax on the step up. So think about that way. When you do the planning, think about it. So I really don't mind helping whoever wants to need to take a look at it. And I'll be happy to tell you this could be changed this way or that way, or there are much better experts than I am in this world. So I claim no expertise in it, but whatever I've learned and studied, I'll be happy to. Okay, the other, I won't go through this either. This is spousal lifetime excess trust. So sometimes when we make, trust, we are a little hesitant. See, there are two kinds of trust: revocable, irrevocable. So if you have irrevocable trust, then that trust you cannot touch. It's done. So let's say you have $20 million or $14 million, and you want to protect that money in case if 2025 laws are changing. And by the way, you have to have this trust made before 2025. December 31st, 2024, if you don't have this trust, no way. So let's say I want to make out of $14, $15 million I have, I want to make an irrevocable trust for $4 million or $5 million. But I don't want to give control to my children. Because lots of people are a little bit hesitant because we don't know. It's not that they're going to waste it. It's just we don't know that they take care of it the way I'm taking care of it or not. So they came up with this spousal lifetime excess trust. So you can create an irrevocable trust for your spouse. So now basically you are creating, you are managing it. And the trust would be the same way that you would manage it. But you cannot use that money for yourself, okay? If you use that money for yourself and the IRS ever finds out, that money goes back to your estate with a penalty. But at least you have a control, which you are not going to use ever. So you keep a control over it. There's something now. I created a trust for my spouse, and spouse passes away first. Something to keep in mind. I, as a husband, cannot access that trust. That's it. Maybe disadvantage, maybe not. That will go exactly what the trust document says. It will pass it on. So while I'm alive, spousal access trust will pass it on. The other problem is, not in our case, most of us, if the spouse decides to get divorced, then that trust money goes with the spouse and she can do whatever she wants. Okay, other question that I've been asked many times, can I change irrevocable trust? Chances are, it's very hard to do it, let me say that. Yes, you can change it if you get permission from all the beneficiaries of that trust, then you can go ahead and change it. But it's not going to be easy. It has to be done through lawyer. You have to void the previous trust, and you have to make sure that that happens. Anyway, so I have covered for trust and the wills. If you have any specific questions, you can ask me. But bottom line, at least have a will and this, and then have all these checklists that I told you. If by listening to me, if you go home and by next Monday, not tomorrow, week from now, if you have those things, at least the list, congratulate yourself. You have done 90% more than 90% of people do it. So do that. Okay. What are these people have in common? All these people, you name it. None of these guys had a will. Can you believe that? All these people died without the last valid will.
But Dhirubhai Ambani didn't have.
Yeah, right. So Elvis Presley, I took his example only. He had at that time when he died, I think it was 1976 or 7. He had an estate of $10 million. And he didn't have a will. He had a debt of $4 million. But he had to pay administrative, legal, and executive fee of $2 million. So he left with 3.3. 3.3 went into taxes. So out of 10, only 9. So everybody thinks that he must have left so much money, this and that. But so I just wanted to make a point that it's very important. I already explained this. Why do I need lead? Why do I need wheels? So I've explained that. So in the wheels, explain everything that you want. Where do you want your cars to go? Where do you want family possessions to go? Where the business is or finance. Even if you have a trust, I would recommend that repeat that on a wheel also. Make 2 things that it is clear. It's very important. Let's see. Make sure your transfer. Make sure that the properties, whether business or residential, at least you both spouses' names are on it. Don't just put one person's name on it. Because it creates nightmare. It really does. The laws, once you get tangled into laws, where the lawyers come in and the lawyer knows that, oh, this guy is loaded, what do you think lawyers will do?
He's gonna take more money.
Not only that, but he's going to extend it. He's not even going to solve the problem. So why give that chance to the lawyer and not do it yourself? At least you have a chance to do it, so do it. Then some of us are worried over what if some of the things that I have done after I did a will, what do I do about this? There is a section called pour over will. So pour over will is you create a document and you say, since the documents are made, I may have bought some jewelry or some precious stones, or I may have been lucky and lottery winner, $10 million. All of this goes to according to my will. So you should have a pour over will with your will. If you don't have it, again, that's a red flag. So what happens if you do not have a will? Your close relatives will have to file for probate. Now I'll give you probate avoidance scheme, how do you avoid probate? But if you don't have a will and if you don't have done some of those things, you will have to go to the what happens is court will give first preference to the spouse. Even if you have unmarried partner, if somebody proves that I was partner to this person for so many years, it doesn't have to be a legal vow, but it can go on that. No, I'm sorry, they do not get, it's the spouse of the first preference. The second is the child. The third is the parents. Fourth is the siblings. And finally the government, but by hopefully all of these people, the unmarried partners or friends and charities don't get it, they get it. Okay. So there is no will. But suppose, what will and probate, I explained that. Now, let me go through probate avoidance schemes. So these are probate avoidance schemes. Jointly owned assets. Now, house with the right of survivors. So if you have a trust, this is automatically taken care of. But when you have a trust, you cannot have your house on your and your spouse's name. The house has to be transferred to the trust's name. If you don't transfer it, no good. Please believe me. All the trust documents, everything you own must be on the trust name. Everything. So your accounts, your brokerage accounts, your properties, your house, put it on the trust name, and it doesn't cost much. So for my individual deed for my house, I have to pay, at least it used to be $8 in the Broward County. And I can change the deeds. They call it quick deed. I would spend $8 or $10 or whatever it is now, a very minimal amount, and you can change it to your trust name.
Does it change the savior home value?
Yes, it does. Everything is set. Everything is as it is. Nothing changes because you are still, your name is still on the quick deed document, but the owner is a trust. And it's very important to realize that the owner becomes the trust. So that's number one. Everything your accounts, life insurance, annuities, retirement accounts, pensions, you must put beneficiary's name on it. I know people think they do, but when you really go look at it and ask, you have missed it. Because most of us have more than 2, 3, 4 accounts. So I suggestion to go back and check every accounts you have, every policies you have listed beneficiary's name. There are pay on death bank accounts. So when you go to the banks and open the account, you can say pay on death to my spouse or pay on death to my children. So you can do that. Transfer on death car registration. When you do the car registration, you can also put that transfer on death car registration. So there's so many things you can do. I won't go through all this today. But anyway, these are the things probate avoidance skill. If you put somebody else's name together with you, you have done the thing, and you will avoid probate. So now, even if you don't have a will, but if you have all taken care of all this, you probably are safe. I mean, still I would recommend strongly to do the will. But if you don't have a will, at least do this. Put everybody together. I will go through this life insurance, there is no probate. Okay, one thing I want to the IRA account, do not go into the trust. What needs to be done with the IRA account? If you don't need that money, or if your spouse doesn't need that money, then I would make your children as the beneficiary. So when you make your children as a beneficiary, what happens? Your spouse's permission that it's okay to make children as your beneficiary. But when you make children as your beneficiary, and it's not in the trust, immediately upon your death, that money will go to your children. But not only that, now they get this stretchable R&D or stretchable requirement to withdraw. So now they don't have to withdraw all the money at one time. And the new sunset law passes, it can go on for 10 years, not take a penny out of that for 10 years. And let's say you transfer $100,000 to the beneficiary to their account. And that $100,000 after 10 years became $140,000. They can use that $40,000 now to pay the estate taxes, right? So it's very simple technique. Make your IRA account beneficiary your children. If your spouse doesn't need money, okay, don't take it for granted.
What about 401k?
You can do the same thing. Yes. But you have to make sure that your spouse won't need that money. Because if your spouse needs that money, please don't do it. But if you don't need it, then put your children as beneficiary. Okay, right? Anyway, that's the one point I wanted to make mention. I have covered a lot of things on the living trust. one thing, don't put your vehicles in the living trust. Why? Because if you have a vehicle named in the living trust, insurance companies have a problem. And they don't want to insure it. But the bigger problem is, let's say you ran into an accident and you have trust title to the car. Guess what? They will ask you to open up the trust and show you when and how they can get their money. All of a sudden, see, if you have a will, that, and you go to probate, everybody is open. Everybody can see what this person has. For wills, they cannot be open. They're private. So don't put your vehicles in the trust. Don't put your 401k in the trust. What else you don't want to put in the trust? There are a few other things that you can. Checking account. The reason why you don't want to put checking account in the trust, I would put my daughter's name in my checking account. The reason you don't want to put it because at that very minute you need immediate money. Then your daughter and somebody can write a check and they can withdraw it. You don't have to wait for the trust to be processed. So just some of those things I would do is not put it in the trust.
Right.
And
We think that has to be put to the kids, thinking that the spouse doesn't need it. If the spouse needs it, it cannot be reversed.
if it's irrevocable trust, no, it cannot be reversed. No, once you put it in the beneficiary, yeah, you can change it again. Sure, yeah. You can change it. That's fine. All you have to do is go to the bank, fill up the forms, and change it again. So that should be okay.
So there is a Roth IRA or individual. If something happened to me, if beneficiary spouse was automatically it will go away or probate come again.
No, the IRA is not going to profit. So the road for any IRA, if your spouse is beneficiary, it will go to her.
Right, there is no
Right now. All she has to do is take the death certificate and show that my spouse is gone and I need to transfer this money to my account and they'll transfer.
My brother-in-law passed away in Ohio in February. We got 15 death certificate for the funeral.
Okay.
Every bank,
Everybody need that.
every.
Yeah. Correct.
You have to pay extra money to.
To get, funeral home only gives one money, by the way.
You have to pay extra money.
Yes.
Or
That's
when
right.
you make the contract, you ask.
That's right. Yes, very good point. So if you make a contract, sex story, but if you make a contract with funeral home, let's make sure that they give you put it in writing. And I want 10, 15, 20, I don't care. That way you wouldn't just say, I need 20 copies and you're going to charge me $100. So last one you don't negotiate. So how much time do I have? It's still not here.
Yeah.
You can put $20,
Yeah.
It's all, everybody is okay? Yes.
12:30 is normal time.
Okay, I'll stop it. Yeah,
After
question.
that, it's fine.
Okay. So anyway, this is very important. If you have a trust, it never gets public unless you do things that causes to go public, like putting vehicle in your trust or putting stuff that does not belong there. So think about it. What is that you don't want to put in? Anything that exposes you to a risk, don't put it in the trust. Anything that doesn't expose you, just keep on doing it. Next slide is. Okay, I just went through this. Okay, do you need a living trust? I went through some of this. If your assets, I would say they're manageable. And you can take care of all the probate avoidance scheme that I told you. Then you don't need an extra document just to keep it in the file. Because you just don't have enough to worry about and make it simple for the spouse. So spouse takes a will, spouse takes a death certificate, and spouse not even need that. If you have a probate avoidance scheme, And if your spouse name is everywhere, then spouse can sell the house, spouse can take the money out of the accounts. And I mean, basically, if you don't have a business and if you are retired and you have retirement income and you have some savings and you have a house and you have a car, I would say you can probably avoid not having a will. But anything beyond that, if you have rental properties, you have accounts and you have multiple accounts, and if you have good sizable assets, and you need a trust, go get a trust. Otherwise, it's not good. Especially if you have a small business, have a trust. Write it down. The other benefit of a trust, I tell you, what it means is I don't want to leave so much of assets to my 21 years old grandkid. Why would I want to do that? So you can write special conditions in your trust. So first condition I wrote is they can withdraw this money if they have some medical problems. So they can go withdraw that money. Second condition is they want for education. They really want to get some educations in a skill. There are some educations that do cost several $100,000 for private schools. They can withdraw that money. And third is if they want to do their own business. So those are the three conditions that I have written. At any age, they can withdraw that money. But then I say, after 35, if they don't hit one of these three, they don't get any money until 35. And after 35, they get, I put some percentages, and you can choose your percentage. 35, you can get 50%, 40, you can get another 10, 50, whatever you decide. So those are the benefits of the trust that you can now lay down your special conditions. Now, the other thing is, if you think your child and spouse are not in that great of a terms, and someday they may break up or something like that can happen, then you have to tell your kids, you know what, that whatever the asset gets transferred to your kid, have a separate account that says that so and so's account asset transferred from so and so, my parents. Then, as of today, that money, the spouse, if decides to take the divorce, cannot claim on. They can claim on together whatever they have made, 50-50 or whatever, but this way you can avoid spouse taking, if that's what you have a fear. If you don't, I mean, then you must. Otherwise, if you do that and then you say to your son-in-law that you're my son, that doesn't go together. If you tell your daughter-in-law you're my daughter, doesn't go together. So if you do it, then do it genuinely if you have. Otherwise, just don't do it for the sake of doing it. Keep to your words. If your daughter-in-law is your daughter, then treat it that way. If your son-in-law is your son, then treat him that way. That goes long way, long way. But please remember that. I'll pass this slide and go to the next one. I would go into life insurance trust. If you need it, you should get, if you have a life insurance, there are benefits of having a trust. The one thing I would like to recommend is when you have a life insurance, you can have life insurance in yourself, but try to make it the owner of your policy, whoever you want the money to go to. So the owner is your son or daughter or somebody, but it's on your life. What that does is, as soon as person passes away, the money goes to that owner, the policy right away. But if you put life insurance in the trust, it will come to the trust and then it will go to the beneficiary. All of that will happen. You save some time here because if your son or daughter wants the money and he wants to get rid of certain debts or certain taxes or funeral expenses or whatever you need, it's available. So one suggestion that I read was do that, is make the owner of the policy.
Actually, this exception.
Doesn't it make it more complex when you accept?
I'm sorry, I think.
What I'm saying is like, you said, you know, like, put owner for the life
Yeah,
insurance
yeah,
policy, wherever you want it to go.
Yeah.
If you don't, if you put it in trust, then yes, eventually it will go to the, you know, designated person. But if you keep on doing all the exceptions, then it's difficult to manage.
But your question is, put it in trust, it goes to the trust, you everything like that. If you pay directly to the beneficiary, then it doesn't go to the. You're giving out of the.
Out of it. See, the thing is, answer to your question, yes, this is why I say to every individual, customize for yourself. And this is why I ask 15 questions to start with. Before even I start planning it, I don't even start planning until you answer me those 15 questions. And you have to answer those 15 questions truthfully, so that you don't have to keep changing it over and over. And you have to answer me those questions with truly what you have, and you have to kind of open it up. If you don't, then again, and no matter where you go, me or lawyers or accountants, if you don't open yourself up, that this is what I have, this is what I want to do, nobody can help you. In order to get help, you must do that. And that's why I keep saying that there is no particular template, because we are all quite a well-to-do people, and we have different desires, we have different things we want to do, and no point in making custom template that fits everybody. And what does it, and even if you make a custom template, you still have to do what you have to do.
Transparent.
Yeah, you have to do. So why not sit down and spend some time? And this may take a month, 2 months, 3 months to figure it out. But put it in writing, this is what I want to do. Go to the lawyer or go to the accountant or wherever you must be comfortable with, do it, and then do it. Don't spend efforts, okay? That's important. Okay. Planning for incapacity, medical care, and finances. Now, this is very important, and the case I want to tell you is a true case that came to me. Mother was dying, but the mother was dead actually. Mother was dead. The daughter came to me crying and said, Suresh, my brother doesn't want to announce and is asking doctors to continue to keep her, the dead body, on the equipment because now the granted family was not that rich or ever poor. But he wants to get, there are 2-3 days left to get Social Security benefits. So he wanted to delay by 2-3 days. And I had to intervene, explain to the brother, and I did some arrangements for the brother so he can be happy in the system. But those are the things that not happen. So what is my point? When you put somebody in charge of taking care of you in the hospital, make sure that person is easily accessible and can be fully trusted, then it's a good thing to do. Because if it's not easily accessible, that's not even good. Kids are far away and that's good. If you can't trust somebody to make a quick decision, there are some kids, they can't even make decisions. They just deliver. Oh, if I do this, this will happen. If I do that, this will happen. No, you want somebody that this is my desire, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to happen. That's what you do. So, I mean, again, don't want to go through durable power attorney, I went through declaration of living will, I went through long-term care insurance. I would recommend if sometimes now it's hard for some of us to get it, hard to get it now. But if you don't have it, it's hard to do it, but then
Better to get it at the age between 40 and 50.
that's right. So if your kids, tell your kids to get a long-term care. at least you can explain to them that why it's important. Actually, it's going to be more important for the children than for us. Because I don't know what's going to happen to our children, honestly. Like 40, if they're 40, 50 now, it's at least another 30, 40 years. And I can tell you what technology is going to do in 30, 40 years. And that is not for thinkers, all generation like us. It's not going to be as social as we think. It's going to be different. Technology is bringing a different world. So it's good to tell your kids to do that. This is the declaration in medical. It says when you want the equipment to be removed, when you want CPR, what kind of surgery do you need, all that thing will go in the document. You have a power of attorney, it will tell you visiting you in the hospital when restricted, who can come and visit you. Yes.
Durable power of attorney with the health, that is also another document, particularly for the health surrogate.
Yes, yes. And you can.
End of life. End of life.
Yes. Yeah.
That can work as a durable attorney with the healthcare clause, which we gotta sign up any paperwork. So that's the health surrogate.
And then again, same thing. Make sure all these documents are witnessed, authorized, and kept it in a place, and make a copies of it and put it on the cloud. Highly recommend using cloud and telling your children what the cloud is, what the password is, and they can go ahead and do that. Okay, so that's very important. If you want to donate your body organs, that also comes there, and I would like to do that. I'm not going to go into details of this either. Do you have a power of attorney for finances? We touched some bases on it. Again, I'm not going to go into details for that, but you have to have this document to who will file your taxes, who is going to pay your taxes away, who is going to sell your property. Like somebody was saying, what if two kids disagree? So one other thing I did in trust that if you have two kids and then they have their spouses. So even if your two kids are in agreement all the time, chances happen spouses may not agree. At that time, you don't. So you have to have trust with odd number of trustees. So put a third person in the trust who can break the tie. Both of them can go to that third person that you trust. Again, that person should be younger. And that person, whatever that person says, that goes. Put it in writing in trust. And the other thing nowadays people are doing is, if any of the beneficiary goes to the court, he loses all the benefits. You can see if you have a trust, these are all the benefits. So if you have any children decides that I don't like this way money getting distributed, I'm going to take it to the court. Fine, take it to the court, but you lose the benefits. But keep odd number, okay? That's my recommendation. 3 people is better than just 2. Okay, I'm not going to go into more of this, and I want to finish this. What's my next slide? Do we have a power of attorney for finances? IRAs, we touched bases on that. Donating to charity from IRA. If you have R&D, then you can donate to pay tax on R&D and send that directly to the charity. Now you save taxes. So let's say you're in 40% tax bracket and you want to donate $100. So you really are giving out of your pocket 60 and 40 is government pays it. It's just nice. I mean, so that's something to keep thinking about it. So then, I think I made a some slide. Let me just make my conclusions up there. Yeah. Okay, my homework. Estate planning mistakes. This is important. A lot of people make these mistakes. 10 more minutes. Okay. People lose their wills. Their wills becomes out of date. Then mentioning too many details in your will. Once you put too many details, then For executioner, it becomes very hard. Oh, so, yeah, sorry. Okay. So too many details. Putting your original way will to be accessible. Do not, oh, this is very important. Do not forget to fund the trust. I was just talking. But that documents Nanaya. He made all these documents. And then you keep it in a safe place also. But you don't fund the trust. You don't transfer any accounts on the trust name. You don't transfer your property in the trust name. You don't do anything with the trust. No good. That has no value. Your estate plan is no good. So fund your trust. That's how you activate your trust, by transferring all these assets to the trust name. Anyway, so I'm not going to go into all these details. That's fine. Homework. I already have given 3 lists for everybody to do the homework. List your assets for both of you separately and jointly. Separate account and joint account. Put all these things. List all the things in the house. This is another thing we miss. I have got some precious things like Buddha's statue. I have it in my house, which is very expensive. I have bought swords from Japan. Expensive. I'm sure everybody has it. You have to make a list. And it's good anyway, in case of fire or something happens, you still have a list, but if you have to put a list and put a name, who wants it? And then decide who you want to be your trustee. Like 3 people. List your desires. I have went through bucket list. Everybody should have a bucket list. You should say that from now till I go, I must do this, and start checking. Have a bucket. Husband and wife must agree. That's another thing. I mean, you may think what is there to agree, but when you start making a list and when you start saying that this is what I want to do, this is what I don't want to do, all of a sudden you will see some voices. And that could even break up the discussion. And that could break up even going fine. Stop at that time, go back, but finish the homework. And the last thing I recommend is every one of you should write minimum 2 pages about your life. That your grandkids, great-grandkids, or great-great-great-grandkids will read and say that this is what my great-grandfather or mother or great-great-grandfather mother did. What I did, I created a website of my own, and I'll be happy to share whoever wants to see it. And on the website, I have a slideshow of my pictures from childhood till now, and then my children's pictures and grandkids' children, and slideshow goes on. But then I say at the very top, what do I want my grandkids to remember? 3 lines. So as soon as they open my website, those 3 things come. And then I put all my pictures, all vacations pictures, all our marriage pictures, all our children pictures, everything in that website. So they can have access to us in that website. So this is what I think. If you want to create a website, I can do another course how to create a website, which is fine. But this is not what you want to do or inclined to do website, then at least write 2 pages and leave it for your great-great-great-great-great to read. Thank you very much. It's a little bit about the time.
Thank you.
5 minutes. Sure.
Anybody else?
My question is like, if you make a trust, do you have to fund it? Do you have to fund everything, or what's the priority for funding?
I would recommend, like I told you, that don't put IRA in the trust, don't put vehicle in the trust, don't put checking account in the trust. But if you have a brokerage account, you have a house, you have any other financial accounts, yes, everything in the trust. Yes.
To protect it.
Oh, yes, yes. I can do it later. Okay. 529 I can hear.
But piggybacking on his question on transferring the asset to the trust. Now, how does the tax situation become? Is it still your taxes? Or
Yes, it's as long as it's a revocable trust. If everything remains same. Except you have funded the trust and you have taken care of your estate to transfer smoothly. That's the only, otherwise everything that you still are the beneficiary, you can make changes, if it's a revocable. You can make changes, you can withdraw the money, you can change the beneficiary, you can change the rules.
So
Let's say-
practicality, the ownership we change, that's how you do. We
No,
change.
your ownership also remain, everything, you can just rewrite.
Trust becomes the owner.
Hmm?
Trust becomes the owner.
Trust is the owner.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
you're changing your ownership
Yes.
to the trust.
So I give you another example. I had to change one trust for a friend of mine. Why? Because he had two sons. One son escalated so high that he was making really good. The other son was not doing that good. He was doing good, but not that good. So the father came and said, I really want to give the other son who is not doing that well 70%, but the other son 30%. So I talked to both sons and they said, it's fine. And one was really escalated. He said, oh, I don't care, you can give 100%. And we changed the trust, but it was revocable. If it were irrevocable, we could have done it, but it was not the thing. So that's the example.
What a trustee of the trust. That was all.
Yes.
Trust is in one person name, but the trustees are.
Trustees are, but if it's a revocable trust, normally you and your wife are the trustees. But if it's irrevocable, then you don't be your trustee, okay? Irrevocable trust, never be your trustee. If IRS ever links that you have anything to do with that asset, in that irrevocable trust, you will come back.
Suresh, my son just made the trust. For young couple, if you have little children, small baby, if something happened to both of them, who will take care of the baby?
They can assign,
They don't want grandparents, no grandparents, they want somebody, education.
which is very proper, younger, because we don't know what will happen to grandparents. So I would recommend even trustee. The third trustee they can take must be younger, even if it's, but somebody you respect, your children respect. But your son is correct. You should have a third person that will take care of their kids in case something happens. You want your son's age and daughter-in-law's age to take care of their children. Why would they give it? I mean, you can help them, but you can't take care of it. I can.
For
Okay.
education and.
Yeah, yes.
will is very important document. It should be an individual will, right? Husband and wife separate one, plus what kind of contingencies they need to do. If one passes, then there are context sensitive.
Trust, there are two ways to make trust. One way, the will, again, will has to be individual, yes. And in each will, you can say that my passing the other spouse gets it, and the other spouse says this gets it. And you can then make similar, there's no issue there. Wills is simple. First of all, you only have big will because you don't have that much assets.
Trust is also in one person's name. The husband or wife, the trustee can.
But you can have, there are times that you need two separate trusts. While there are times that you can really do two different trusts, husband and wife. I don't get into details for that, but there is time. But wills, yeah, two separate wills, two separate health wills, two separate POAs, everything two separate. But you have to have two sets of everything. I'm not the right.
Suresh, once the will has been notarized, it should be renewed every 3 years.
It should not be renewed, but you should go back and check it. Do you still want to do the same thing that you wanted to do 3-4 years ago? Because you may decide to change some of the things. You may, time comes here and you say, And with my kids, I just want to give everything to charity. Because kids are enough. So it's good idea to revisit it instead of just putting it in a safe place. So I would recommend, yes, 3-4 years, you should review it. If you want to make change it.
I'm not telling you review it, I said.
No, you don't have to legally change it, no. Once you, yes, no, legally you're fine, but reviewing it is a good.
Let me write down last will, this is my last.
Last will, yeah, last will of testament, that's how they say it, yes, yes. Any other, yeah,
This way, so, I mean, my basic question, so having this trust is basically just to avoid the conflict between the parties, right? Or
trust does more than that, trust avoids the probate, first of all. The other avoids the conflicts. The third is you can lay your conditions of how do you want to distribute special conditions of distribute the assets amongst people.
but then that's part of the,
Hmm?
that's part of the deal.
That's the part.
You can put that in the bill too.
You can, but if you have properties, if you have real estate, if you have brokerage accounts, who is going to manage in what way? It should be done the way you want it. And you can explain that better into a trust document. The other thing is creditors can't do much if you have a trust.
Oh,
But if you have the will,
they
you
can
know,
go
they can go to the court and put a
later.
lien on it. Or do something.
Right, if you have rental property or if you have only one house, the creditor cannot come to the funds, right? It is a will.
There are some states where they can.
Prime
In
residence.
Florida, we are okay. But there are some states in 50 United States where they can. Huh?
Saying stay in Florida only, don't move to California.
Yes, yes. But again, this is, just do it. Don't even think about all this. This is no brainer. You just put it.
And the question is, before you put your property in the trust, you think that you should advise or not advise? You put that in a limited partnership first, or family limited partnership, and then transfer it to the trust.
See,
Yes or no?
I don't know the answer to that. It depends on an individual, but unless we get, I don't know the answer.
What was the question?
Okay. You get back.
We have, say, multiple, rental properties, or you put that in a family limited partnership, then transfer it to the trust. So that's what I'm, yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm available. You can even call me if you have a question.
9 to 9, you're aware.
If I'm not, I'll just tell you I'll call you back. But I'll be happy to assist in any way that I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Suresh bhai.
Thank you, Suresh bhai. It was excellent. I know, we might do a second or third session next year, he's going to India. But if you have any other more question, like next time I will just focus on like, we don't trust, only trust, like other than all the point. So we'll do it next week. He's going to India.
Or maybe we can set up a workshop.
Yeah, workshop, like, that's what.
It doesn't have to be on Sunday,
Yes.
but those who are interested, smaller gathering and
Yeah.
But I think in person, it's much better because like
Everybody has a
get
personal thing.
inputs from other experts like Vijay Bhai or Pradeep or somebody. And we can, everybody hears everybody's questions. So my suggestion is instead of WhatsApp, this would
Like
be
a privacy.
Okay, so the announcement, guys, today's. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, can you get a copy of presentation?
I don't like to do that because I don't know how, things change and people, so.
But we have that in the YouTube, you can refer. In various times.
And you can call me if you have questions.
Sure.
Content.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
you can ask me, I personally ask.
Simon, Slide માં પૂર્ણ બનાવી.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But if you keep going up, then I don't want everybody to call.
But not so many.
This is only for specifically for Jain Center.
Thank you. I have some announcement. Today we have other sponsor, Pankaj Bhai and Sanghani Patel. So you are with the RT, come for the RT. Next week we have Samdiji, so please make sure you come. And on the December 24th, we have a Mahindra Best lecture. January 14th, we have picnic. And February 11th, we have general body and election. So please save the dates. Thank you.
Suresh by number is right here in our directive.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Suresh Bhai in the directive.
Suresh by is the directive.
Hey guys,